Hi students, and welcome to today's live IELTS class. My name is Adrian and I'm streaming to you from beautiful Victoria here on the west coast of Canada. I hope that everybody is having an awesome weekend, an awesome week so far. I hope you're staying healthy and you're staying strong. Hi Gonza, hi Robin, hi Dovlat Beck Lequang. How are you all doing? I hope you're doing fantastic. Students, in this class, we are looking at an IELTS listening section. Specifically, we're focusing on listening part 1 and 2. You will see that the topics will be football and the Titanic. This is a subscribers chat class, so subscribe now to be able to join the chat and do this listening with us together. We're definitely encouraging our viewers to subscribe to our channel so that you get all of the benefits, lessons, schedules, live classes, notifications, so that you can improve your English and get a better band score. Welcome, Udit. All right. Hi, Christopher in Bono, Ghana. Students, this lesson is presented to you by aehelp.com. For academic IELTS, visit us there. For the general IELTS, check us out at gieltshelp.com. On both of our websites, we have tons of materials to help you improve your English communication, your vocabulary, and your grammar for your next IELTS exam. We are going to be actually using this website in a couple moments for the listening audio. You can click this red button to join our premium IELTS package. It's a one-time payment for lifetime access, and you can use the code RU492 to get a 30% discount off the premium package. It's a one-time payment for lifetime access, so it's well worth your investment with General IELTS. It's the green background. Click this big red button. As you can see, we're a certified British Council IELTS registration center, certified British Council agents. You're in great hands with us for your IELTS preparation. Okay, students, so again, apps from your app store, Academic IELTS Help, General IELTS Help. Download the apps, install the apps, link them to the web accounts, Instagram, IELTS_AEHelp, GIELTS Help. So join us now. Use the code RU492. Okay, students, so the class schedule and questions. If you have questions, send me an email. Up there, Adrian, that's my name, at aehelp.com. We've got listening right now. Tomorrow we'll finish the task 2 essay that we started with the members today in the class before. Then we'll do listening part 3 and 4, and then we will do some more speaking, parts 2 and parts 3 for Saturday. So lots more exciting English and IELTS coming up. Welcome Carolina, our chat moderator. Welcome Araf, Simran, Jaskaran. Great to see so many students in this class. Oh, let's listen and let's answer. Let's do some part 1 here. All right, so students, when we do the listening in a moment here, use a headset if you got one like this. It's better for the listening. When you're doing your listening, most exam centers will have headsets now for the listening as well. So it's definitely good to use your headset when you're doing your listening. Okay, and again, so here you're going to want to go to aehelp.com if you have access to our full course, because that's where you will find this listening when you're doing your practice at home. But for now, don't worry about that. I'm going to play the audio in a second here. What I'd like you to pay attention to is answer while you listen, but don't put the answers in the chat. Okay, so just wait till the end so that we can do it together. Okay, because if you give the wrong answers, then it will confuse your classmates, the other students. And also you want to give them a chance to do it on their own, right? So, so wait till the end to share your answers. Maybe write your answers in like a separate document or on a separate piece of paper, okay? All right, so in the listening, you're going to hear the instructions. During the instruction time, this is my first tip to you, so tip 1. During the instruction time, look at the topics of all 4 parts of the listening, okay? So get a little bit of a head start thinking about the topics of all of the 4 parts, and you're allowed to do this in the IELTS exam. If the examiner tells you you're not allowed to do this, they're wrong. You're allowed to do this, okay? So during the instruction time, look at the topics of all 4 parts of the listening. Okay, you are allowed to do this. Why do I know? Well, because when you do the computer-based exam, it lets you click through any part of the listening section. Okay. All right. So let's check out the questions. Okay. Here are the questions. Let me just bring this up here for us. I don't see it yet, so just give me a second. Yeah, okay. All right. There we go. So this is our review test coming out of our first book. Let me make that a little bit bigger. There. Okay. All right. Now let's hop over to the website. So we're doing this kind of like the paper-based exam. Okay, the computer-based exam you're clicking. If you want to do the computer-based exam, again, on our website, you can do that. So let's jump over to our website. We'll go to academic. And then let's log into our My Student account. Okay, and that tour, let's go to the audio CDs. This is exam 1, test 1. So let's go to CD 1. Here we go, everybody. Again, listen and answer the questions. Remember, during the instructions, it's about 1 minute, maybe a little bit more. You want to look at the topics of part 2, 3, and 4, because I will ask you about those after, okay? So here we go.
This recording is copyrighted by 2 Think One Solutions Inc. and World ESL Tutors. You will hear several different recordings and you will answer questions on what you hear. There will be time given to read the instructions and questions, and you will be given a chance to check your work. The recordings will be played only once. The test is made up of 4 sections. At the end of the test, you will have 10 minutes to transfer your answers to the answer sheet. Now turn to section 1. Listening section 1. You will hear a conversation between 2 men as one of the men registers for a football league. First, you have some time to look at questions 1 to 5. You will see that there is an example. This time only, the conversation relating to this question will be played.
Hello there. I'd like to register for the Autumn Men's Football League.
All right. In what town will you be playing?
I'd like to play in Chester, but I'd be willing to travel to Liverpool if I had to.
The man says he wants to play in Chester, so B has been indicated for you. Now we shall begin. You should answer the questions as you listen, because you will not hear the recording a second time. Listen carefully and answer questions 1 to 5.
Hello there. I'd like to register for the Autumn Men's Football League.
All right. In what town will you be playing?
I'd like to play in Chester, but I'd be willing to travel to Liverpool if I had to.
Well, we have 2 spots left open on the team in Chester and 5 spots open on the team in Liverpool. There's a very good chance you would have to try out for the team in Chester. Are you a good player?
I consider myself a good player, yes. I have been to a number of the autumn men's league games in the past, just as a spectator, and I'm sure I would have no trouble fitting in.
OK, good. So we will register you for Chester then. I just need to get some information from you, starting with your position. Where on the field do you prefer to play?
I'm a midfielder, although really I can play anywhere aside from goalkeeper.
Oh, I forgot to ask your name.
Right, I guess that's important. My name is Steve Trammell.
Would you mind spelling Trammell for me?
Certainly. Trammell is spelled T-R-A-M-M-E-L-L.
Right, now I need your home address, including your postcode.
I live in Chester, of course, at 452 King George Avenue. The postcode is MS868P4.
MS868P4?
Yes, that's right.
And your date of birth, sir?
The 8th of September 1986.
OK. Now I need your phone number. Just a mobile number will do.
I don't have a mobile phone right now, unfortunately. I can give you my girlfriend's number instead.
That would be all right, I suppose.
Good. Her number is 329 633270.
Fine. I think that's all the information I need to gather from you. Do you have any questions?
Yes, I do have a couple. First, when does the season start?
The season starts on the 28th of September, although your first game is later, I think. Let me check the schedule. Yes, your first game is October the 1st in Liverpool. Let me make a copy of the schedule for you.
Thank you. Could you also tell me how long each game is?
Each game has 2 halves, 40 minutes each half, so the game is 80 minutes long.
That's a little shorter than the other leagues I've played in. Games are usually 90 minutes.
Yes, our spring and summer leagues are 90-minute games, but our autumn league has only 80-minute games. I think it has something to do with the poor weather.
You now have some time to look at questions 6 to 10.
Let's look at questions 6 to 10. So don't worry about the first 5 here, just look at 6 to 10, okay?
Now listen to the rest of the interview and answer questions 6 to 10.
OK, can you tell me how many players are on each team? And I mean on the whole team, not just the players on the pitch.
Usually there are 5 additional players to the 11 on the pitch, so there are 16 players on each roster. We generally find that to be the perfect number. It allows for a few players to miss a game, but still allows lots of playing time for each player.
Yes, playing time is what I was worried about. I don't want to pay my money and then sit on the sidelines the whole season. Are there minimum playing time requirements?
Yes, each player must play a minimum of half a game, so you are guaranteed at least 40 minutes of playing time per game.
Wonderful. That puts my mind at ease. Could you tell me what facility we play at in Chester?
That information is on the schedule, along with the addresses of all the other facilities in the league. Here's your schedule.
Thank you. Oh, good, it states we play 2 streets from my flat. How convenient.
That is very lucky. Do you have any more questions?
No, I think that's it. Oh wait, how much does it cost to register?
It's going to be £125 for the season, including all fees. How would you like to pay?
I'll be paying cash.
Right. Would you like a receipt? If you find that it doesn't work out time-wise, you can always bring the receipt back and we will give it.
That is the end of section 1. You will now have half a minute to check your answers.
All right, let me just stop the audio. Use the half minute to check your answers, everyone. It's super important to check your answers in that half minute. Okay, we'll go over the answers together. So, and let's talk about it a little bit more before we go over the answers. Quick question. What are the topics of part 1 2, and 3. So part 1 is obviously a man registering for a football league. Part 2, I introduced it at the beginning of the class because we will do it today. What was that about? So part 1, we just listened to it. You should definitely know that that was about man registering for a football league. So part 1, registering for football. What was part 2? Simran says part 2 was about the Titanic. Yes. Khadija says part 4 was about climate change. So all we're missing is part 3, or sorry, part 3. Part 3, Jaskaran, very good, got it. Jaskaran said part 3 was something, a group discussion on about a project. Okay, make sure to get this information in your head when you are listening to the instructions. So be very careful, students. When the IELTS exam starts, you're sitting part of the exam and you start your listening and you have about 1 minute to listen to these instructions. Don't get into this zoned out kind of like, whoa, kind of situation. But instead, actively move around, check the other parts, get the information in your head so that you're ready to think about those topics and answer some questions on those topics. Okay, I actually have seen students kind of just like in the first 1 minute when the instructions are going, because they've practiced at home and they listen to the instructions so much that the instructions basically become like a lullaby for the candidate. So they're hearing it for the 100th time because they've been practicing so much, and then they're like, and you're like, "Whoa, this is the actual exam," right? So hopefully that doesn't happen. Some people just get really nervous during that first 1 minute, and they're like getting super excited about the test. So don't get super nervous, don't get drowsy, sleepy, don't zone out, but instead just focus, look at the different parts of the listening during that instruction time, and then you're good to go, okay? All right, good. I'm happy that some of you thought that was kind of funny. I feel it's kind of funny too, but I do feel bad for students that get into those moods or those feelings during the exam, all right? Okay, because I know that they're going to lose scores. So, okay, let's go back to the questions here. I was giving you a bit of help by highlighting when we got to certain parts of the listening. And you obviously don't have that kind of help in the real exam, so you have to be very attentive. Now, just keep in mind, students, that since 2020, any materials and the IELTS exams from 2020 do not have an example for listening part 1, okay? So since 2020, there is no example for listening. Which kind of sucks because that was a little bit of extra time for you to become more familiar with the questions. But for some reason, they decided that it's unnecessary or it's confusing to students, so they took it out. Okay, so keep that in mind. All right. Okay, so here there was an example. We developed this test before 2020. Tests that were developed before 2020, they're still pretty much the exact same as the test today. Tests that are before like 2010, they're a little bit different. They're like a little bit maybe easier. So careful with that, okay? All right, so number 1, the question here was, how many football matches has the man played in the league? A, 10, B, 0, C, 40 to 50. On the paper-based exam, you just put A, B, or C into the answer sheet. In the computer-based exam, you just click on the right answer and you're good to go. Saeed and me and Simran and Rohit all say that the correct answer here is 0. Yeah. The man actually says, I have been to a number of games in the past, but just as a spectator. So he's never actually played. He's only watched the games. So that's how we know. Okay. That's right, Saeed. He said he was a spectator. Very good. Good for you to catch it. Tricky first question. Okay. And then what position does the man play? He actually mentions all 3 of these, but you have to carefully listen to what he says he plays. Okay. So A, midfield. B, goalkeeper. C, striker. All right. Hamid says A. Simran says A. And Sports Shorts says A as well. A is correct. Yeah, he's a midfielder. He literally says that. He says, I'm a midfielder. Okay. So he says, I'm a midfielder. But I can play anything aside from goalkeeper. Okay. So that's where we get the answer. Goalkeeper is definitely not right. Striker, yeah, maybe, but he's a midfielder. Okay, and then we get into these fill in the blanks. So complete the notes below. Write no more than 3 words and or a number for each. Here, the first one is name, Stephen. And we have some good answers there. Steve Trammell. Yeah, you don't have to write Steve because Steve is given. So you just write Trammell. And they spell it. He says, can you spell that for me? He says, sure. The spelling is Trammell. Trammell. Yeah, Steve Trammell. Okay, postcode. You have to practice listening to credit card numbers, postal codes, and these kinds of dictation of number, social insurance number, social security number, because this type of question almost always comes up on the IELTS exam because it's something that you have to do and it's something that you have to say and listen to when you are in an English-speaking society. Nuthan says the answer is MS 868P4. And that to me sounds correct. Okay, it looks like others got the same. Use capitals for the letters. It's just clearer for postal codes. Okay. So Trammell is the correct answer here. Okay, let's remove this confusion here. Okay. All right, and then in the first set, question number 5, match the time with the event. Choose the correct letter A to D. This is kind of a matching type question. So you have, again, it's a multiple choice. It's basically just a different, so don't be confused by different looking multiple choice questions. There are a few different types of questions that are all basically multiple choice. So here it's multiple choice. Choose the correct letter A to D. 30th of September, 28th of September, 3rd of October, 1st of October. When is Steven's first match? So we're looking for the first match here. When is it? Is it A, B, C, or D? Tanish says B. Farhad says 1st of October. Now make sure that you actually give the answer D. Okay. So don't write 1st of October, write D. Okay. So yeah, it's October 1st. Okay. They do say that the date September 28th. Anybody know why they use September 28th? So here's a question. What does the date September 28th refer to? So let's see who was listening really carefully. The correct answer for Steven's first match is D. But they do say the 28th of September. And what does that date refer to? Divya, the match starts. It's not the match that starts, Divya, on the 28th. Rashika says it's the beginning of the match. Nope. It's the season start, Akbar. That's right. It's the start of the season. Exactly. Yeah, his match starts October 1st, but the season starts on the 28th. So that means that's when the first games start to get played, but not his team. His team doesn't play until October 1st. Okay, so then we get into questions 6 to 7. You have to complete this little table. We've got the league, or you can say the league starts as well. If you don't say season, league starts. So this is the autumn league that Steven's playing in. The autumn league has 80-minute games. These 80-minute games, how many players are on each team? So players on roster, it means players on the team. They're on the pitch, on the bench. Rohit says number 6 is 16. Yeah, absolutely. And all you need there is that number. So you just probably screaming at you guys. I still have my headphones on. Hope I wasn't yelling at you too much. Just got so comfortable there. So yeah, 16. Okay, let me put a few dots in there so it's not so confusing. Okay, yeah, so the answer there is 16. One benefit of virtual learning is that if I am yelling at you, you can just turn the volume down, right? All right, and then the minimum playing time. Minimum playing time, Kawal says it's 40 mint. It's not mint, it's mins, like Divya, Kawal. 40 mins. Okay, so 40 mins, like that. Okay. You can write the short form mins instead of minutes. All right. Now, we heard the word lucky for number 8. So it's actually the administrator that says, oh, that is lucky. So why is the man lucky? A, he was able to find a team to play on. B, there's a minimum playing time requirement. C, the playing field is close to where he lives. Okay, and many of you are saying the answer is C. Correct. For multiple choice, I'll give you a strategy. Okay. Don't stare at the answers, but listen for the answer. Since the answer is usually paraphrased, it does not make sense to stare at answers. Just write down the answer when you hear it. Okay, so if I were taking some notes, if I were writing down the answers for the multiple choice, here I would have written down field is 2 blocks away. Okay, or even simpler, 2 blocks away. And then if you have this in your notes, so 2 blocks away, minus the quotation marks, then you can figure out, okay, the playing field is close to where he lives. 2 blocks is very, very close. All right. Yeah. He said it's close to his flat. It's just 2 blocks from his flat. I'm pretty sure he said 2 blocks. Hope I'm not just imagining that. I'm pretty sure he said it's 2 blocks from my house. Okay. All right. So again, for multiple choice, big tip, important tip, take some notes, okay? All right, what is the cost of the football league? So how much does it cost? And here, you need to just keep it simple. No more than 2 words. 125 pounds. Yeah, that's right. Or you can use that little fancy symbol for pounds as well. I don't have it on my keyboard because I'm using a Canadian keyboard. Don't use $, because if you use a $, you will get it wrong. What is that one? It's this one? No, it's Yeah, that one. Yeah, if you use a dollar sign like that, you'll get it wrong. So don't use that. You want to use the sign for pounds. But again, well, I'm not in the UK, so I'd have to look for that special symbol. So pounds, or you can just write pounds, okay? All right. Number 10, how does the man pay for the registration fee? He says it very clearly. He says, I'll be paying, Divya says, cash. Saeed, you found the pound sign. There you go. So cash it is, yeah. All lowercase. You don't need to capitalize it. It's just a common noun, right? Okay, so what did you get from 10? From 10, okay? Now keep in mind, in part 1, you should be aiming for 9 or 10. In part 1, your goal is to get at least 9 questions correct, as this is by far the easiest part of the listening section. If you are getting less than 7, you should wait at least 3 months to do your IELTS exam so that you can get a passing score of at least a band 6. Okay? So if you're getting less than 7 on part 1, I highly recommend not rushing into sitting the IELTS exam. You should wait with it a little bit, and practice your English, practice your listening, because if you're getting less than 7 in part 1, it's going to be virtually impossible for you to get over band 6.5 for the exam overall, because 2, 3, and 4 is going to get much more difficult. Okay? All right? I don't think part 4 is easier than part 1, Akbar. Okay. Farhad, you're right at the cutoff. Christopher, a little bit less. Okay. So 10 is good. Saeed, Hun, 10, good. Yeah. Cass, very nice. Anir Bun says, I zoned out for the first while, but I got 8 in the end. Yeah, don't zone out. Okay. All right. So if you're getting 9 or 10, you're on the right track. Ideally, you're getting 9 or 10 in part 1. Okay. All right. Let's do part 2. So let's listen to part 2, and then we'll answer. Here we go. Part 2 about the Titanic. I'm just going to start the audio on the website again and answer the questions. Don't put the answers in the chat. Okay, so here we go.
Now turn to section 2. Take some time to look at questions 11 to 16. Listening section 2. You will hear a radio presenter interviewing a woman about the infamous ship Titanic. First, you have some time to look at questions 11 to 16. Now listen carefully to the interview and answer questions 11 to 16.
Good afternoon to all our listeners and welcome back to History Now, a weekly programme that reflects on subjects of historical influence. Today we are going to speak with Dr. Andrea Smithson, an historian at the University of Glasgow. Good afternoon, Andrea.
Good afternoon, Peter.
What are you going to talk about today, Andrea?
I'll be talking about one of the most catastrophic events in maritime history, the sinking of the Titanic.
I can't wait for you to begin.
Thanks, Peter. The Titanic was an enormous ship. The makers called it unsinkable. From end to end, it measured approximately the length of 3 football pitches. It had the capacity to carry over 3,500 passengers, as well as the over 800 people on the crew of the ship. Despite its massive size and impressive capacity, the Titanic was able to cruise at a speed of 40 knots. This was in large part due to the 59,000 horsepower engine. Just how much is 59,000 HP? Well, in literal terms, it's like being pulled by 59,000 horses. More realistically, it's the equivalent power of 500 cars. On the maiden voyage that left Southampton, England, on the 10th of April 1912, there were 1,343 passengers and 885 crew members. There were 3 different classes of tickets for those aboard the Titanic. A third-class ticket was the lowest level ticket. At the time, it cost between £3 and £8. A second-class ticket cost about £12. A first-class ticket cost anywhere from £30 all the way up to £870. In today's money, £870 is over £20,000. You may be wondering what the people in the first class were paying for. They had luxurious rooms on the highest decks, delicious meals for breakfast, lunch and dinner, as well as the finest entertainment money could buy. On the other hand, those in third class slept in cramped rooms which were quite plain and small and did not have access to the fine restaurants and entertainment on the upper decks of the ship. Now I'd like to tell you about a few lesser known facts about the Titanic. Although there were 4 large funnels, or smokestacks, on the Titanic, only 3 of them were functional. One of the funnels was put there just to make the ship look even bigger and more impressive. The ship carried over 70 tons of food for the passengers, including over 40,000 eggs.
You now have some time to look at questions 17 to 20. Now listen to the rest of the interview and answer questions 17 to 20.
On the night of the 14th of April 1912, on her maiden voyage, the Titanic hit an iceberg. About 3 hours later, early morning the next day, the ship sank. The reasons for the sinking are numerous. First, the watertight doors, which were supposed to keep water out, didn't work properly. Second, the night of the 14th of April was incredibly calm on the water. Icebergs are easily spotted when there are waves crashing against them. On this night, there were no waves. The strength of the metal in the Titanic was not as it should have been. The metal became brittle in the freezing cold and was easily broken by the iceberg. Another big factor was the inability of the Titanic to turn quickly. Once the lookouts had spotted the iceberg, the captain ordered the ship turned, but it was too late. If the ship had been able to turn faster, it would have missed the iceberg. One of the biggest tragedies about the sinking was that there were not enough lifeboats for everyone on the ship. In addition to this, many of the lifeboats left the sinking vessel with less than half of the people they were designed to carry. For example, the first lifeboat off the Titanic left with only 27 of the allotted 65 passengers. This unfortunate occurrence can be attributed to panic on the part of the passengers and crew. One can only imagine the sheer terror on board the ship that early morning. 1,523 out of the 2,228 passengers and crew perished that morning. Most died from the near-freezing temperature of the Atlantic Ocean. Others drowned after being trapped in the lower decks. 705 people lived to tell their story, most of them women and children who were put on the lifeboats before the grown men were. Because of this, 94% of the first-class passenger women and children were saved, while only 14% of the third-class passenger men survived. Overall, 60% of the first-class occupants survived, while only 25% of the third-class ticket holders lived in the aftermath of this tragedy.
That is the end of section 2. You will now have half a minute to check your answers.
All right, students, so check those answers. Again, I'm just going to hop over to the website here and stop our audio and we'll go through the answers together. Again, you had a little bit of assistance from me just by showing you kind of how to move through the listening section. So you saw me kind of highlight words as I heard them. Okay, that's something you can practice at home, but it's not a feature that's available during the actual IELTS exam. All right, so let's hop back here to section 2. So we're talking about the famous ship, the Titanic. Here, number 11 was, what was the overall capacity? Capacity means the overall volume of people. So how many people fit on the Titanic? And while I was reviewing this, I realized they might just kind of give this in a lecture style. So it'll be like a statement, the Titanic held, or the Titanic's capacity was. A, B, or C? We've got a lot of B's. Rashika says the answer is C. The correct answer is C. Okay. So here, the tricky part was the overall. Okay. Overall means the total capacity. So total capacity equals the number of crew and passengers. Okay, crew means the people working on the boat, and the speaker said that was 800 people that work on the Titanic, and the passengers was 3,500. Okay, is the total capacity. So crew and passengers equals 4,300, right? Okay, so that's how we end up with that number. Okay, 4,300. So you have these thinking questions on the IELTS sometimes, so be careful with it. You might need a little bit of math. Pay attention. Okay. What was the cost of a third-class ticket? 30 to 870 pounds, 1 to 2 pounds, 3 to 8 pounds. The answer for number 12. Mahredad Rezai says that's C. Okay, and it is C. It was 3 to 8 pounds. 3 to 8 pounds. Okay. All right, and what did people in first class get for the astronomical amount of money that they spent for their first class ticket? First class ticket was like a lot of money, something like 20-something thousand pounds in today's money, so like 40,000 American dollars for a ticket. Sheesh, 40 grand for a ticket. That's maybe even more expensive than flying first class on Dubai Airlines. So very expensive. They must have gotten something good for that. I took some notes. I didn't have the time to pick out from these 6 selections, so I just took some notes. I took the notes: luxurious rooms, delicious meals, and entertainment. Let's see if they match. Watertight doors, no. Luxurious rooms, hey, look, that one matches. Delicious meals, high quality meals, that one matches. Yeah. Entertainment, yeah, there we go. Sounds like the Titanic was among like the first all-inclusive cruise ships. It's pretty exciting. So high quality meals, yeah, great. Okay, so B, C, and D. Okay. All right. Don't know about the casino. Verberton says money is no object for those people. Yeah, probably not, right? Paying 40 grand for those luxurious rooms. Little did they know that they were also buying the experience of a sinking cruise ship. Okay, number 16. Which of the following is the best representation of the Titanic? A, 5 smokestacks, B, 4 smokestacks, or C, 3 smokestacks. The correct answer here was B. So hopefully everybody got that. Okay. They said it had 4 smokestacks, although only 3 of them worked. The 4th one, they just kind of put in there to make it look even bigger. Yeah. That's right, Saeed. 4, but 1's not working. Rohit, it's 4 with 1 not working. 3 of them were working. Okay, that would be terrible. Imagine they put 3 fake ones, only 1 working one. No, 3 of them were working. 1 of them was not working. Okay. All right. And then we had to complete this this flow chart. So you have this kind of a flow chart. I had it in my exam, and it's not organized in the same order as the audio, so you have to kind of see it all at once, and then you have to drag and in the computer-based exam, you actually drag and drop the answers as you're hearing them. So you have to be pretty clever here. Number 17, it was an extremely calm night, and there were no waves. That's right, Malra. No waves crashed against the iceberg. So the correct answer here is waves. Yeah. No waves. So it was difficult to see. It was kind of hidden by the calm ocean. It's so scary. So no waves. And then because there's no waves, the next situation is the Titanic hits the iceberg. Boom, there's a crash. Number 18, the watertight something failed. A lot of bad events happening here. The watertight doors failed. Yep. So water's going from one compartment into the next compartment. The doors are failing. And then so doors are failing, ship is sinking, people are panicking, and many of the what left the ship half full. So we're visualizing this. It's a terrible event. Khadija says the lifeboats. Simran says lifeboats. Yeah, and lifeboats is actually one word. It's a bit tricky. Okay. I think if you write it as 2 words, they might give it to you. I don't know. I wonder. Okay. Sometimes that's tricky in English. I wonder if they would have the generosity to give you that. But the safe bet is definitely the one word, lifeboats. Okay. 1,523 people die from the sinking of the Titanic. By the way, that sank in Canadian waters just off the coast of Newfoundland. And most people die from the freezing cold temperature of the what? What is the body of water that's between the UK? Saeed says Atlantic Ocean. Yeah, students, this one's a bit tricky because you have to have Atlantic Ocean with capital O, capital A. Be very careful. If you don't have a capital O, there's a very good chance they will mark that wrong. Okay. When the word ocean is a part of the name, the letter O has to have a capital letter. Okay, the letter A. If you're not capitalizing correctly, you'll get it wrong. So a safe way to do it is when you transfer your answers to the answer sheet, then all capital letters. Big A, big T, big L, big A. So all capital letters, Atlantic Ocean. Okay, so careful with that. That's where you can easily lose a mark. Oh, sorry. There, you don't see that answer. There we go. Atlantic Ocean. Yeah, Carolina, I just got that right as you wrote it. Well, I can't see that one. Yeah, I'm like, oh, wait a second. I see it. You don't see it. It's a little bit lower on my screen. So most die from this. Yeah. Okay, Malra says, Malra got 9 out of 10 there. Sports Shorts got 8. Farhad said 7. Yeah, so again, my tip to you is at least 7 from 10 in part 2 to get a good score overall. Okay, so that means that for part 1 and 2, part 2, your goal should be at least maybe 16 from 20. Okay. If you're getting less than that, definitely be patient. Do lots of studying. Okay. Right. Okay, everyone. Tomorrow we will do listening part 3 and part 4. So if I go back to the syllabus here, you see that tomorrow is the 4th of March. And we've got listening part 3 and part 4 coming up at the same time. So we'll finish this listening exam tomorrow, and then you can get your overall score. So come back tomorrow, subscribe to our channel. Again, don't forget about our pop-up special discount RU492 on our website so that you can get all of these practice exams. There's 6 of them, over 100 hours of video lessons. Fully interactive course, applications for your phone. We help probably more people than anybody else for less money than anybody else. So we're pretty proud of that. AEhelp.com for academic IELTS and GIELTShelp.com for general IELTS, ladies and gentlemen. That's it for me for today. Thank you, members and subscribers and viewers, for all your support. I hope to see you all tomorrow. Have a lovely rest of your day. Have a great Friday if you're starting off your weekend. That's awesome. Much love to everyone wherever you are right now in this beautiful world. Stay positive, stay strong.